Yeah, we all went big brain on this one. The WandaVision finale is here, and I definitely got mixed feelings about it. I did enjoy it. I feel like I enjoyed it as a whole, but let's talk about it. This is my thoughts about WandaVision, the final episode, and also the whole series in its entirety. So this is going to be my spoiler-filled review, so you've been warned. So let's just recap. Like, Wanda is now in a standoff with Agatha Harkness, and it's clear that Agnes is essentially just trying to steal her power. She just wants to absorb her. And not only does Wanda have to fight off Agatha, but she's got Sword trying to muster an invasion as soon as a crack appears in the hex. And then they're also infiltrating with WandVision, who that would be quite a formidable power to have to deal with. There were definitely moments where I was feeling disappointed in this show, and that's really on me. That's my fault. I dream too big of stuff that I would want, and it's been a year. I mean, it's been a year for us to want to get back into the stories with our heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think the problem is that we were expecting too much, knowing what's possible and not really caring about what's practical. What I did like about the episode was the scale. Seeing our heroes stretch their powers out, letting loose, was really cool. It most notably, I thought the fight between Vision, or the Visions, like White Vision versus Hex Vision, was really dynamic, really cool, high quality. The costumes in the show have been fantastic. I mean, through the period pieces, and then the more contemporary stuff, and then the newer costumes like Wanda's Scarlet Witch costume. We'll get into that later, but even Vision, going Vision to White Vision, very, very interesting stuff, like excellent stuff throughout. Agatha's as well, really interesting, lots of different textures to it. I don't know what's really going on with those frostbitten figures though. It looks cool, I guess, you know, it's kind of mysterious and kind of accentuates her finger movements, but I definitely wouldn't want her setting my jello. No, that's pretty grim. I did like that the episode was a bit longer. It was only really marginally longer, even if you do count the mid and post credit scene. I am kind of glad that they stuck to their guns, because if they did do an hour long, like a full hour, it kind of means that they could have done it all along. We'd definitely be feeling more lackluster in retrospect when we go back to it. So I'm kind of glad that they stuck to their guns and kept it as it was. Though thinking about it now, I might rewatch the whole series just in a binge watch and try to experience it like a movie and see how that feels. Wanda'S Battle with Agatha was great. I like the way that they borrowed some of the cool effects that were used in Age of Ultron to accentuate the weirdness of Wanda and her powers, that creepy quick movement. I did love seeing the intellectual flurries between the two Visions. Easily my favourite asset that Vision brings to the MCU. His mindful, poignant words, his philosophy. Loki and Odin were obviously up there as well with their fantastic delivery of lines. Overall, the episode did answer the majority of the questions that I had. I respect that. I respect that it's kind of sealed up. They may not have been answers that I've been dreaming of, but I was still relatively happy with what they had finished and tied up together. This brings me to what I didn't like. Nobody said mutant. Nobody said it once. Would it fucking hurt to just say the word mutant? It's almost weird. It's like a vindication thing. It's like queer bait, you know? It's like, we know, we've been waiting, there's no reason to hold it off any longer, but I guess there should be a bit more reason for why anyone would even know that information, considering it's never been said before. We do have a bunch of them blipping around now, so just one small reference would have been nice. I feel like the leaks and disinformation about this show is handled pretty badly. Bettany, you scamp, trolling us. I mean, we were expecting something wild to enter the hex, but you were trolling all along with your particular joke. I mean, even the way he told that joke was so deadpan. That being said, it's got to be quite rare for an actor to be able to act against himself within a film. maybe he's a Nutty Professor fan, you know? He's a big fan of Eddie Murphy. Who knows? Evan Peters underwhelmingly was a meta cameo all along. This does lead to one of the bigger questions I have. Like, he's not Pietro from the Foxverse, but he has Quicksilver's powers. They should have got Agatha to clearly state that she had added his abilities to support the illusion. On the bright side, and I mean, you gotta look at the bright side of this, that the fact that he isn't Pietro from the Foxverse, that does mean that they're taking mutants very, very seriously. That means that it's not going to be something as just slapping two universes together, because as much as I'd like to see a lot of these actors come over, and there's a lot of actors that I loved from the Foxverse, you know, people like Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, McAvoy, Fassbender, Famke Janssen, James Marsden, even Kevin Bacon, you know. Like, these are great actors and I love what they brought to those roles, but we may actually have to be saying goodbye to them, and they'll probably just become a faint echo into the multiverse from now on. But I do like the idea that they are treating the idea of introducing mutants as something quite serious and important. I am worried that they're going to try and start the whole history of X-Men from present day, which would mess up a lot of different story threads. You know, it kind of negates Magneto's early years in the prison camps. It doesn't give you much of a rich history. That it would mean we'd have to wait several decades to get the appropriate backing behind each character, and I don't really want that to happen. I would prefer it if, you know, some people have said that Professor X has been hiding them the whole time. I mean, it seems a bit of a cop-out, but at the same time it's kind of good, because at least we get the more authentic versions of those characters faster. But it is a bit of a cheap jibe. But the thing is that the Foxverse is such a tangled web of poorly made plot threads. It would really mess things up for the MCU. So I'm glad that that's getting treated properly and seriously. We do hear quite quickly that Agatha actually has the Darkhold, which is pretty interesting. I mean, that's no small thing to have in your possession. She clearly knows how to acquire power. This could be saving grace to where things are going. I'll talk more about that later when I start talking about the post-credit scene. But she does drop a bomb on Wanda, which was that technically the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. I mean, that's salt in the wounds, because we didn't even get to see Doctor Strange in the episode. Just like, damn it. It sucks, but I mean, I definitely think that the Scarlet Witch has more raw power than Doctor Strange. I mean, reality warping is clearly an insane ability, but Doctor Strange is going to have far more of a broad skill base. He's going to know an incredible amount of knowledge about the multiverse and extra dimensional abilities and powers. Hayward sadly was reduced to pretty low level motivation for a villain, making him basically lazily written. Like, I guess it's lazy writing, but he served the purpose of what he was supposed to be doing. But considering Agatha was so fleshed out, it's not so bad, I guess. It just would be nicer if he had a little bit more dimensions to him. Resurrections also suck. They do devalue characters and their stories, and it is much better to have some sort of finality, especially when it comes to things like comic book characters, because of how very little weight is given to their purpose. They're just there to be recycled and used over and over, and a death is just no more than a marketing ploy. But I will say, if it's going to be anyone that they bring back, I'm happy it's Vision. Vision, I mean, he was only 3 years old when he died. He was just a baby. And I loved him as a character. I feel like there's a lot more that can be done with him. And he definitely has more to give. And him and Wanda deserve a win, for sure. Please don't bring back Tony Stark. Please, like, it would just destroy everything that I love about the Infinity Saga. I believe in Feige. I don't think he will do that. It definitely was obvious that Vision was going to reprogram the White Vision, his original body. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where it goes from this point on. Most likely Wanda is going to approach a period in her life later on where she's going to lose control fully of her powers. They just go way too far down the line. And he will be this thing that saves her and brings her back. I'm shocked that they didn't save the boys though. They were awesome taking out the army. I mean, that was such a cool little Trunks and Goten moment. They were super badass. Then there is the final clips. Mid-credit scene was quite a meh. I mean, it was almost certain there was going to be a Captain Marvel 2 or something, the other promo for Monica Rambeau. I am really excited though to see Teyonah Parris as Photon because she was fantastic in show. Easily one of the best things in the whole show. Her powers are going to be intense, man. Like, Photon is no joke. She totally could stand toe to toe with Danvers. That could be intense. And the final credit scene, that actually for me was way more interesting than I thought it would be. And you know, she's living in a quaint little mountain town, like processing the loss of her husband and her children. But then actually it turns out she's got the Darkhold, and she can hear the screams of Billy and Tommy in the background. Like, were they real after all, or do they exist somewhere else? Were they taken by someone during the Hex? Or is she using the power of the Darkhold to try to make them real? Like, her meddling with that book is definitely going to bring attention to the Sorcerer Supreme. He will immediately recognize that her power is going to only be corrupted if she follows down that road. Maybe that is the thing that's going to put these two together, and that we need an extra step before we get to the Multiverse of Madness. Cool thing I did appreciate was the VFX during the part where Vision and the boys are breaking apart. It looked a little bit like the front cover on House of M, the image where her like mind is just ripping apart because she's phasing her reality into this new dreamscape that she's made. I was kind of let down because I personally wanted to see that to happen to Wanda. I wanted to see that image realized in film, but it's okay. I mean, like, at least they got it in there. I think someone must have said, we got to do that. We have to get that in there. But I was hoping that there was going to be a moment where Wanda fully breaks down. And I don't think, like, she had like moments, but there was never a moment where she looked like she fully lost it. But then again, I guess if she did break down, then that would stop her from being fully functional for the Multiverse of Madness. So it was quite interesting. But we did get to see Wanda in her final form, in her true form, and man, she's gonna wreck things. She looked incredible. I loved the suit. I loved the shape on the corset, the way her head mask, her tiara thing formed. She looks fantastic. And I think that she's going to stand out amongst the Avengers in the future. It was my final take on the whole show. Like, all things said and done, has captivated me from start to finish. There has been a dialogue with people that I know, of sharing ideas and talking as we waited week by week for each episode to come out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even though it wasn't what I wanted, it still was really fun. And I think many times before I've been very selfish, and because it wasn't what I wanted, it wasn't good. But in this case, I can see the difference, and I can be saying that, yeah, it wasn't what I wanted, but that aside, it's really good, and it's really interesting and fun, and I hope the success of it will make them take even bigger chances like this next time, and perhaps bring about some of the ideas that we were thinking about, because they'll be even more confident to do it. The MCU is often very safe, but is really bad. Like, after a year of waiting, I think we may have gotten that. This is definitely a critical hit. Easily said. Highly recommend it. If you love comics, sitcoms, superheroes, just fun, captivating drama, WandaVision is a great watch for all. You could definitely enjoy it. Just remember, keep it simple, stupid. Don't worry too much about what can be done or where it could go. Just enjoy the fact that it was good. So what's next? Falcon and Winter Soldier should be in 2 weeks. They're also doing a making of WandaVision featurette next week on Disney Plus, so I can't wait to see that. It was a great trip. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually am still begging for more. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and consider subscribing. Comment below if you personally wanted more WandaVision, or you're happy enough that they did. If you're happy enough with what they did in WandaVision at the end of the show. Thanks for the likes. Love to the subs. And I'll see you guys next time.